When the evaluation is done, we get a summary on the terminal, but we also get a set of files that we can take a look at. So if we actually go here and navigate to temp results, and we go into the folder for the experiment that we're conducting, we should see a lot of outputs from what we have been doing so far. Um, So this file shows us the training history for both fold 0 and 1. When we discussed the learning rate scheduler and the shape of the curve as the number of epochs increases, this is what I was referring to. So here you see the warming up. So you see that the learning rate starts at a lower value, and then over the span of 5 epochs, it increases to the desired value of 2 times 10 to the negative 3. So, and once it gets there, then it starts decaying until you reach the maximum number of epochs. For this experiment, that was 20. And the shape of the decay is dictated by the shape of a cosine lobe. And this figure also shows you what turn out to be the best epoch if you're looking at the validation error, which in this case happened for epoch 17, and also the value for the last epoch in terms of the loss function. So you see like the number that you see reported here is actually the validation loss. So another thing we have here, in these folders, we also have the checkpoints. So these are actually the model weights. So if you were doing transfer learning, this will be the files that you can actually input into a model as the initial weights. So, and here we actually have the inferences. So these are the actual predictions made. So we just run evaluation. So we have two test patients. If you remember from the configuration file, here we only specified 2 test patients. So these are the 2 test patients, and we train fold 0 and 1 already. Here we have an output that summarizes the performance of the model for all the test patients. So here we have fold 0, patient 3, and we see the global metrics, which include dose scores, DVH score, mean absolute dose difference, and so on. And then we have metrics specific to the structure. So for the OARs, we see differences for D1, D0.035, so the maximum dose, max dose, and here just the single voxel max dose value, as well as the mean dose. And you see we have that for each of the structures that are relevant for this data. And we have one file for each of the folds, and we so one thing that we can do now that we finish training the model is actually visualize it. So if we open the visualize prediction file and we run it, and this is going to trigger a GUI that will show us the patients, and we can actually take a look at each of them. So here it's asking us to choose the data set that we want to visualize. So let's do 2, since that's the one that we work with. Then it's going to detect all the experiments for that data. So here I just choose 1. And these are just some outputs. You can ignore them. Just wait until this finishes. So it's computing DVHs and getting the web-based GUI ready for you. So once this stops doing this, depending on your machine, this can actually display the data for you, or you can just open it once it's done. So in this case, it's done. So if I actually hold control and click this, it's going to ask me if I want to open it. So then here you have your ground truth on the left and your prediction on the right. This was a rough experiment, so we shouldn't expect this to look decent But yeah, so here you can navigate through the data, change the different views. We can visualize DVHs for the targets, for all the structures, and change some things. We can apply normalization, change the color. So we can visualize isodose lines if we want, or again color wash. Here you have different levels, so we can turn them on and off. So if I was doing isodose lines, I can turn some of them off and apply, and you can see that they disappear. Maybe let me choose one of the low ones so it's more obvious. Again, this is just to take a quick look at your results. You can choose different patients up here. Now it's telling us that it's still loading, so just give it a second. So there. And it should remember the position from the previous patient. So if you go back to 3, it should go back to the slides that you were looking at. And also you can choose different folds. So by default, it's going to do it in symbol, but you can just choose, for instance, fold 0. Just give it a second there. See that one, for some reason, the liver wasn't, just more or less 0 there. And then fold 1. And then symbol.